Did you know that Olympic gymnast Simone Biles, Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps, actor Ryan Gosling, and musician Justin Timberlake all have spoken publicly about living with ADHD? ADHD affects people from every background and every profession. It doesn't determine intelligence, creativity, or success. As a licensed mental health counselor, I also want to share something personal. I was diagnosed with ADHD myself, and like many people, I've learned that understanding how my brain works has made a tremendous difference. Using a combination of evidence-based treatments and practical strategies, I've been able to successfully manage my ADHD. Today, we'll talk about what ADHD is, how it's diagnosed, what causes it, and evidence-based treatments, and why people with ADHD can absolutely thrive and live fulfilling lives. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder. That means it involves differences in how the brain develops and functions. ADHD primarily affects attention, executive function, impulse control, and activity level. Although symptoms usually begin in childhood, ADHD frequently continues into adolescence and adulthood. It's important to understand that ADHD is much more than occasionally getting distracted. It affects daily function at school, work, relationships, and home life. The encouraging news is that ADHD is highly treatable, and many people go on to live very successful lives. The DSM-5-TR outlines specific criteria clinicians use when diagnosing ADHD. Symptoms must begin before the age of 12, although many people aren't diagnosed until adulthood. Symptoms also need to occur in 2 or more settings, such as home, school, work, or social environments, and they must interfere with daily functioning. There are 3 presentations of ADHD. The first is predominantly inattentive presentation, where difficulties with attention are most noticeable. The second is predominantly hyperactivity or impulsive presentation. The third is a combined presentation, which includes symptoms of both inattention and hyperactivity or impulsivity. Inattention involves much more than occasionally losing focus. People may struggle to sustain attention, become easily distracted, lose important items, forget appointments, avoid lengthy mental tasks, or have difficulty following multi-step instructions. These challenges often affect work performance, school success, and everyday responsibilities. Hyperactivity and impulsivity can look different depending on someone's age. Children may run, climb, or constantly move. Adults often describe feeling internally restless, fidgeting, talking excessively, interrupting conversations, acting before thinking, or struggling to wait their turn. Many adults no longer appear physically hyperactive, but still experience significant impulsivity and inner restlessness. Executive functioning is one of the most important concepts for understanding ADHD. Executive functions are the brain's management system. They help us to plan, organize, prioritize, manage time, remember information, monitor our behavior, and complete tasks. One quote I often share is, "ADHD isn't a disorder of knowing what to do. It's often a disorder of consistently doing what you know." Many people with ADHD know exactly what needs to be done. The challenge is initiating the task, staying focused, and following through consistently. Although emotional symptoms are not part of the official DSM diagnostic criteria, they are very common for many who experience ADHD. People often experience frustration, emotional reactivity, low self-esteem, feeling overwhelmed, or rejection sensitivity. Years of struggling with organization, attention, or impulsivity can lead to self-doubt and increased emotional distress. These experiences are real and deserve attention during treatment. There isn't one single cause of ADHD. Researchers use what's called a biopsychosocial model. Biological factors include genetics, brain development, and differences in neurotransmitters. Psychological factors include temperament, coping skills, and emotional regulation. Social and environmental influences such as stress, early life experiences, and family or school environments may also influence how symptoms develop and are managed. ADHD is not caused by poor parenting or lack of discipline. Certain risk factors increase the likelihood of developing ADHD. These include a family history of ADHD, premature birth, prenatal exposure to substances such as tobacco or alcohol, lead exposures, and much less commonly, certain brain injuries. These are risk factors, not causes. Having one or more risk factors does not mean someone will develop ADHD. ADHD is diagnosed through a comprehensive clinical evaluation. The clinician gathers developmental history, conducts a detailed clinical interview, uses standardized rating scales, and often collects information from parents, teachers, or partners when appropriate. Medical or mental health conditions that could better explain the symptoms also need to be considered before making a diagnosis. There is no blood test or brain scan that diagnoses ADHD. Fortunately, ADHD responds well to evidence-based treatments. Behavioral therapy teaches practical skills for organization and problem solving. Parent training helps caregivers support children with ADHD. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, addresses unhelpful thinking patterns and builds coping skills. ADHD coaching focuses on organization, time management, and accountability. Medication can be highly effective for many individuals. School or workplace accommodations provide important support, and healthy lifestyle habits, including sleep, exercise, nutrition, and routines, can significantly improve daily function. As I mentioned earlier, I also have ADHD. What has worked best for me hasn't been one single intervention, but a combination of approaches. For me, that has included learning practical organizational strategies, building consistent routines, and using appropriate treatment. That's something I encourage my clients to think about as well, finding a combination of tools that fits their lifestyle most appropriately. Treatment is most effective when it's highly individualized. Recovery doesn't mean curing ADHD. Instead, success comes from understanding how your brain works and using strategies consistently. Many people benefit from planners, calendars, reminders, timers, structured routines, regular exercise, healthy sleep, and medication when appropriate. The goal isn't perfection, it's building systems that work for you. ADHD does not limit success. Simone Biles became one of the greatest gymnasts in history. Michael Phelps became the most decorated Olympian of all time. Ryan Gosling and Justin Timberlake have all spoken publicly about living with ADHD while building remarkable careers. Their stories remind us that ADHD does not define intelligence, talent, or potential. With the right support and strategies, people with ADHD can thrive. Let's address a couple of common myths. The first myth is that people with ADHD are simply lazy. That's false. ADHD affects executive functioning, the brain's ability to plan, organize, and regulate behavior, not intelligence or motivation. Another myth is that only children have ADHD. In reality, many adults continue experiencing ADHD throughout their lives, even though symptoms often change with age. If someone you care about has ADHD, your support can make a tremendous difference. Listen without judgment, be patient, help create structure and routines, avoid criticism or labeling them as lazy, encourage treatment when appropriate, and remember to recognize their strengths. People with ADHD are often creative, energetic, resilient, and excellent problem solvers. If symptoms began in childhood and are interfering with school, work, relationships, or causing significant distress, it's worth seeking professional evaluation. Getting evaluated isn't about receiving a label. It's about understanding how your brain works and finding strategies that can improve your quality of life. Let's wrap everything up. ADHD is common. ADHD is treatable. ADHD is not laziness or lack of motivation. And people with ADHD can absolutely be successful. If you'd like a more detailed overview, you can download my free ADHD educational handout from my Shopify store. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to follow The Quiet Mind for more videos covering mental health diagnoses, DBT-informed coping skills, psychology, and evidence-based treatment strategies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.